to know if an atomic process exists for fusing virtual particles and materializing them in the real world.
Jeremy Balboa is an excellent student, but he's a bit of a dreamer.
Son, that is in the realm of science fiction. Sorry.
Which makes it even more strange that he avoids diving into Lyoko at all costs. The single thing that fans of the show have asked for since the beginning of time was Lyoko Jeremy right alongside Yumi, Odd, Ulrich, and Aelita, heck, even William. That's what made me want to peel back the layers of Jeremy's phobia, hopefully revealing the true reason he never fully virtualizes in 3D. Run the likes up, let's go.
Okay, be brave, Jeremy. Have a good trip.
First off, Jeremy's attempted this before, right? There's trial and error of him being virtualized, but failing miserably and ended up stuck in limbo. Not even Lyoko, in limbo.
Where is he? He's out there and locked somewhere between us.
Yeah, somebody hammed up the controls. He's decidedly most useful on the outside. So for the longest, he was never actually able to get in Lyoko, and neither was there a real reason for him to go. Until there was one. Jeremy's actual virtualization is necessitated in one of my favorite episodes called Ghost Channel. During a routine Lyoko mission, Odd jokes that Jeremy should stay in his place. Let him be reckless, let him do whatever he wants in Lyoko as long as he hits his targets.
Oh no!
You lost too many life points. That's what Odd is hearing in the background. You lost too many life points. Like, stay in your place, which is outside of Lyoko, sitting at a computer, barking orders at the Lyoko warriors from the comfort of his legless chair.
Hey, Jeremy, next time just enjoy the show and let the real pros get the job done, okay?
He's just yapping at this point. Odd, go ahead and mute this kid. Jeremy is the brains of the operation, and Odd is obviously the butt of the operation. Every operation needs one brain and one butt. We got them both. He launches a quick return to the past, placing everything and everyone back in its right place, or at least that was the plan. But what wasn't planned was the fact that Jeremy still seemed to be holding a grudge about Odd's comment in Lyoko. Meanwhile, in Yumi's class, nothing out of the ordinary. It's super mundane. She's just observing these small details, though. Something is off about the environment.
And all the men and women merely players. They have their entrances and all the men and women merely players.
Usually, if your teacher phases in and out of existence, this is something you would probably celebrate. But this is no cause for celebration, at least for the Lyoko warriors, because it's a clear indication of xana tampering. It's a little bit of a mystery in the beginning of this episode, because it wasn't entirely obvious that the B-plot basically took place in a whole simulation while the A-plot was taking place in the real world. I gotta give his props, xana masterfully plays between the fractures in the group, as it's obvious Jeremy took offense to Odd's comment earlier. The truth is, he's not in the field, putting in that work. He's just a lab rat simping over an e-girl all his life. But in reality, it's still uncharacteristic of Jeremy to hold on to such a trivial comment with petty nerd rage. Xana's absolutely playing it up for the camera.
Jeremy?
Present.
Dylan?
Present.
Hey, that was great work, Einstein. You were never better. No hard feelings, huh?
Carolyn? Present.
This Jeremy and the real Jeremy are two separate people. Jeremy's cortisol spike actually anchors them further into this false reality. But in the real world, Jeremy's completely cool off the whole situation, except now he's got nobody to reconcile with.
Odd.
Odd in Ulrich's absence brings up an entirely different problem. After being properly gaslit, they all head to lunch where Odd hits Sissy with possibly the worst roast in the history of Western civilization.
Oh, hey, sissy! Did you use canary feathers in the washing machine instead of soap?
That is so dumb. I'll have you know that yellow is the in color this year.
But remember, they're still in a Fugazi xana simulation. The glitches are intensifying. For all Odd knew, the joke was so bad that it shifted them backwards in the space-time continuum, triggering Sissy to repeat her lines bar for bar, except...
I didn't say anything that time.
Meanwhile, imposter Jeremy is looking real sus right about now, isolating himself in the lunchroom, computer maxing in 2004. It's kind of a flex. But this is obviously not like Jeremy to get mad, let alone drag it for the rest of the day. The Antichrist struck again. Back in the real world, obviously if 3 students go missing in the middle of the day, it's gonna cause a little bit of a disruption. So the principal and Jim pull Jeremy into the office, interrogating him over the missing 3. I must say, I do admire the adults' vigilance and quick action about the missing students. It feels realistic. I thought they were gonna start waterboarding them at one point. They meant business. Anyway, this episode is an important milestone in Jeremy and Ailita's relationship, as it's still relatively early days, so he's learning to treat her more like an equal as opposed to this learned helplessness e-girl secretary.
Don't worry, I'll help you get out of there. Yes, Jeremy, just like Xana, I can operate on the school's network as well. Listen closely now.
I'm sure Jeremy knows more than he's saying.
Should we call the police?
I've thought it over. I'll tell you where they are.
And by tell you where they are, he means he's going to play them. He's gonna finesse them. He's luring them into the boiler room where Ailita cranks the steam on them, creating a divergence, sort of like a smoke grenade, which, side note, people should actually use smoke grenades in social situations a lot more often. There's like endless use cases. So Jeremy jukes them both and Euro steps all the way to the factory, hoping his friends would be in the pods, but they're completely
Empty.
then he rushes to do a couple beep boop bops on the supercomputer, and Ailita stops him in his tracks. She says, "Hey, I got something you might want to see." And that's when it all became clear. Xana's created a parallel world within Lyoko, a bubble if you will. And in this bubble is a simulation of Caddick Academy. Right now, it's Ailita's job to find their exact location, and at the same time, having no way to communicate with her, Jeremy will have to take matters into his own hands by diving directly into the simulation bubble. Similar to how they would learn to dive directly into Sector 5 without the transporter in later seasons.
That's crazy and you know it. And besides, who could do it? We're all alone, Jeremy, and
It's gonna have to be me.
Currently, Xana is scrambling Odd, Yumi, and Ulrich's location, forcing Jeremy to get his hands dirty. Against all natural instincts, he's gonna virtualize himself for the very first time, but into the simulation bubble. Huge caveat. The goal is to extract the team and materialize them back into real life, and at the same time, Ailita will be on the outside in Lyoko, searching for the location of the simulation bubble. He's doing the thing. Jeremy's finally doing what he said he would never do. Completely out of necessity, of course. If he had a choice, he wouldn't step foot in Lyoko, but he's doing the thing.
I'd much rather be entering a virtual world to find you waiting there for me.
so would I.
It's at this point that we realize it's a bit of a missed opportunity. We won't be seeing a 3D version of Jeremy completely dripped out in Lyoko gear. We won't be seeing any of that, unfortunately. We'll have to put up with his blue turtleneck for yet another episode. This makes sense since the simulation is located in Caddick Academy. It doesn't call for the normal Lyoko transformation that we so desperately want from Jeremy. I'm not gonna lie, I wish he was 3D right now. This wouldn't happen to 3D Jeremy. Nonetheless, this still is an act of bravery on his part. His hands are tied, okay? He's lost communication with Ailita, and imposter Jeremy is still a few steps ahead of him.
We've got a visitor, Jim.
On the other side of campus, the gang is still trying to figure out what's going on. They haven't quite been able to put their finger on it, and they've all developed varying degrees of suspicion around their current circumstance. Odd is a little bit more oblivious. He doesn't really buy into any of the theories whatsoever, probably having something to do with the fact that he's dumb. Ulrich is slightly more suspicious, leaning towards what little evidence he does have, while Yumi is in her kitchen staring the evidence dead in the face as her parents glitch out.
What's going on, Yumi?
It's my parents. They're acting so, I don't know, so strangely. They keep making the same gestures, and they act as if I'm not even there.
Okay, now Odd has seen enough, or heard enough. Regardless, this would be a really good time to check Lyoko for any anomalies, but Ulrich almost makes a crucial mistake.
We'll go to the factory. I'll warn Jeremy.
No, not Jeremy. Just Odd, you, and me, okay? Let's leave Jeremy out of it this time. I have my doubts.
Very good catch from Yumi. Ain't it crazy how if had it not been for Yumi's mom Millie rocking over some tea, they would still be speculating.
I've been Millie rocking for 4 days.
Thank you, Mrs. Yumi's mom. The dust begins to settle and they all end up in the factory for a doppelganger showdown. A true pillar of the show, a doppelganger showdown is basically a subgenre within Lyoko at this point.
Hold it, Odd. I'm not too sure of this.
Look, you've got to believe me, but if you have any doubt, let Ulrich and Odd be transferred before you. Yumi, you're right. It's a trap.
It's at this point they confront Xana, and he kind of sloppily constructs a narrative to explain away all these anomalies. Frankly, it was a pathetic attempt at lying to them, and you could tell it was just an AI attempting to lie.
Don't go. Xana, is that the best you can do? A cheap imitation to delay us? He's lying. The phony is there. It's him. Everything here is phony. You never came back from your last trip. You're in a virtual world created by Xana.
Xana's mostly good at playing off on human emotions, but he's not good at impersonating or coming up with original narratives to manipulate the situation in his favor, which his favor sucks, but it's always like a privilege hearing Xana's dialogue. Not that he says anything like super tough, but it's cool to hear what Xana would say. He's usually like this mute character.
You have to decide which one of us is lying, and it's not me. Assuming, as you claim, that this world is virtual, you mind telling us how you got here? We're listening, Xana.
Xana pulls Jeremy's card, but Jeremy calls Xana's bluff, and this is where Xana completely sells. It's a hard watch.
I got in here via the scanner. I'm here in virtual form. You gave yourself away. Everybody knows that the real Jeremy wouldn't step foot in the scanner. He'd be much too frightened.
Okay, just breathe, Jeremy. See, Xana, he fucked up on this part, right? He fucked up on the everybody knows part because everybody doesn't know, because that's not the case. And the homies pick up on the fact this is not a thorough statement.
And I'm sure he would go into the scanner.
Xana's getting advice. I don't know where he's getting his scripting from. He's getting it from ChatGPT because the strategy is buns. Jeremy exposes Xana for having a micropenis and a pea-brain when it comes to emotional intelligence. And in response, in a completely impromptu, pure moment of genius, Xana spurgs out and rage quits. Oh, this is not logical. ChatGPT told me. Grown man, by the way. And he attempts to murk Jeremy on the spot. One thing about Xana is that he gonna strangle some kids.
You are going to die.
But there is still one small sliver of hope, as Aelita is still on the outside searching for the simulation bubble out in Lyoko. But it's what happens after she uncovers the bubble that freaks me out a little bit. There's this supernatural occurrence between Jeremy and Aelita. Did you see that? What was that? Jeremy calls out to her, and this wave of primal energy sends Aelita flying back like 10 feet. Could this possibly be a glimpse of Jeremy's power in Lyoko? He breaks the blood-brain barrier, the bubble simulation barrier. That has to count for something. I think this is the closest we'll get to Jeremy physically influencing Lyoko, as we never really got it, or at least not in a 3D Lyoko, the official Lyoko, not the Fugazi, Xana, dirty bubble Lyoko. It's also no coincidence he evokes Aelita in this moment, which is likely intensifying the emotion behind this electromagnetic pulse. I don't know what the exact source is, but if I had to guess, I have two theories. Either one, this is the power of love, or at least extreme like for now. Or I'm reluctant to say two, the energies from Jeremy's dip. Aelita gets back up and does her dip, her usual Keanu Reeves LARPing, bursting Xana's bubble, literally, which catapults Jeremy directly out of the simulation. The materialization process looks like pure agony. He will feel that in the morning, but Jeremy hops right back on his grizzly. He's right back like he never left. Bro just went through a life-altering event, almost lost all of his molecules. Then he gets up and is completely stoic, looking like Dr. Glocktavius III. Everybody gets materialized back into Lyoko, and they go fight a bunch of cute monsters, which I'm sure they all die because it's like 50 of them, right? Am I tripping? But that's the end of Ghost Channel. Also, fun fact, they successfully virtualized Aelita the very next episode, so going through that hellscape was definitely worth it for Jeremy. So what is the ultimate reason this kid refuses to go 3D? That blonde hair in 3D would be overly trimmed. Just think about it for a second. Jeremy spent all of his time in the first season helping Aelita escape Lyoko. Why would he spend all his time in Lyoko, going in Lyoko, or being 3D? It's a sick DLC, I'll give him that, like, don't get me wrong. But compared to the real world, it's a prison. It's a fucking liminal space. Of course he don't want no parts in that. He's a true turbo nerd, okay? He's the guy that does the calculations so the astronauts can go into space. I will mention he does enter Lyoko once more off screen just to protect himself from demonic possession by Xana. But yeah, Jeremy is clearly way too geek to even like dabble in normie activities. He got his girl out of Lyoko. He didn't need to enter to do that. It was all a virtual system. So ultimately, Jeremy Mogs Lyoko.
Help me get over to the computer. and get ready to dive in. Stop looking at me, come on.
Let me know in the comments what you think, the psychology behind Jeremy, the real reason he doesn't virtualize himself. I'm sure there's more details and different angles to look at it. If you made it this far, you might as well go all the way and subscribe if you haven't already. For now, this has been Adrenaline Flux, and until next time, no hard feelings, huh?
Great work, Einstein. You were never better. No hard feelings, huh?
Carolyn, present.